Today, we're diving into a story of digital revolution in Nepal. It's all about how one single platform is trying to completely rewire an entire nation's economy, taking it from cash in your pocket to clicks on a screen. So this is really the big question, isn't it? How do you take a whole country with all its history and habits and shift it from a traditional cash-first system to a modern digital one? It's a massive undertaking, and Nepal's story is a really fascinating look at how it can be done. You see, the dream was there, for sure, but the reality on the ground was way more complicated. Nepal's economy was built on cash, and on top of that, most financial services were packed into the cities, leaving a huge chunk of the rural population behind. That created some serious roadblocks to growth. So, to tackle this thing head-on, the government didn't just tinker around the edges. Nope, they drafted a huge, countrywide vision. And this wasn't just about money. The Digital Nepal Framework was this massive strategy that targeted 8 key areas of life, everything from health to farming. But look closely, finance was right there at the center. The thinking was pretty smart. If you can get the money flowing digitally, you can unlock efficiency and growth in all the other sectors too. And this chart really paints a picture of just how big that dream was. The goal was to go from an economy that runs on paper money to one with smooth, easy digital payments. It was about closing that gap between the cities and the countryside, giving everyone access to banking. And it was about swapping out slow, clunky old processes for instant, secure transfers that could finally let an e-commerce market really take off. Okay, so the vision was there. It was ambitious, it was clear, but a vision needs a backbone, some kind of technology to actually make it happen. And that's where our main character enters the story. Now, this journey didn't start yesterday. The first seeds were planted way back in 2002 with the first online banking. But the real game changer, that landed in 2018, connectIPS. This thing wasn't just another app. It was designed to be the great unifier. And then, just a few years later, the whole system got a supercharger when the national payment switch went live. So what exactly is connectIPS? Well, the easiest way to think about it is as the digital backbone that connects all the different pieces. It's one single platform that lets you link up all your bank accounts, doesn't matter which bank, and use them to pay for things directly. You don't have to load money into a separate wallet. It just moves right from your account. And connectIPS doesn't exist in a vacuum. It runs on a much bigger system called the National Payment Switch, or NPS. So if connectIPS is the backbone, the NPS is the entire digital highway system for the country. It's the core infrastructure that makes sure a payment from one bank can talk to a totally different payment system all seamlessly. Okay, so that's the big picture. But for any system like this to actually work, it has to be incredibly simple for you and me to use. So how does it feel from the user's end? And you know what? They really nailed the simplicity part. You register with your phone number and email, link up the bank accounts you already have, and then you just do a quick one-time verification. It's that simple. Once you're in, you basically have one dashboard to see your entire financial world. And the stuff you can do with it is what makes it a real game changer. You can shuffle money between your own accounts, pay your friends, and take care of all the boring adult stuff, utility bills, government taxes, online shopping, credit card payments, you name it. It puts almost every common transaction you can think of in one place. Of course, none of this matters if it isn't secure. You have to trust it. So security is baked in from the ground up. We're talking multiple layers here. End-to-end encryption, two-factor authentication to make sure it's really you, plus a unique PIN for every single payment. It's all about building that trust and keeping your money safe. So you've got a powerful idea and a super user-friendly design. The result? Explosive growth. But, as you can imagine, that kind of growth also brings a whole new set of problems. The big turning point, the moment that really lit the fuse, was the COVID-19 pandemic. All of a sudden, going digital and contactless wasn't just a nice to have. It was an absolute necessity. This global crisis, strangely enough, became the catalyst that pushed connectIPS into the mainstream across Nepal. And the result of that catalyst was, well, just look at this number, a 1,400% increase in transaction volume in 1 year. That isn't just growth. That's a fundamental shift in how an entire society handles its money, happening almost overnight. And that growth created a huge ecosystem. By 2023, you had over 1.1 million customers on the platform. And get this, they linked almost 1.8 million bank accounts to it. And over here, you can see that 52 different banks and financial institutions all jumped on board. It shows you just how deeply this thing is now woven into the country's financial fabric. But, and this is a big but, that kind of hypergrowth is never a smooth ride. It stretched the system to its absolute limits. And in doing so, it brought some of the deeper, tougher challenges facing Nepal's digital journey right to the surface. And this gets to a really critical point. Technology alone is never the whole answer. You have these 5 major hurdles, and they're all tangled up with each other. You've got the human factor, people who aren't comfortable with digital tools, especially outside the cities. You've got constant cybersecurity threats. You've got infrastructure gaps, like spotty internet. You still have that deep cultural habit of using cash. And on top of it all, you have political instability that can make rules and regulations unpredictable. But even with all those hurdles, the momentum is undeniable. The ball is rolling, and it's rolling fast. So what does the next chapter for connectIPS and Nepal's digital economy even look like? Well, the roadmap is focused on building on this incredible foundation. They're looking at things like blockchain to make the system even more secure and able to handle more traffic. A huge goal is to introduce cross-border payments, which would be a game changer for international trade and for families relying on money sent from abroad. Really, the ultimate goal is to become an even more essential part of daily life. And this quote from the source material really just nails it. The platform isn't seen as some finished product. It's a living, breathing system that's expected to keep growing and changing because it's now a fundamental part of the country's economic future. Which leaves us with one last big question. The story of connectIPS shows us a path for incredibly fast digital transformation, but it also shines a bright light on those deep-rooted challenges that technology alone can't fix. So could this mix of government vision, smart tech, and a crisis that forced change, could that be a blueprint for other nations trying to build a digital economy from the ground up? The final answer is still being written.